Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's time for the Jesse T Show. Hey, what's happening, my friends? Good to have you along with me, Jesse T. Yes, we are in an undisclosed location, desperately trying not to get on the freeway as I leave downtown Los Angeles. I'm rolling about like the Batmobile here through the streets of Chinatown right now in the backwoods, which used to be actually Little Italy here way back before the Chinese moved in here in Los Angeles. But I'm trying to bypass this crazy freeway. Good to have you along with me. It's going to be one of these kind of adventurous shows today. One of these shows where I'm doing like 73 and a half different things at once. Yes, but I can do it. I can do it. I know I'm the little train that could. I keep chugging along. Okay, I'll hurry up. Sorry. Oh, that's a great place. Hopefully Seafood Restaurant. That's one of the best places here in Chinatown to eat. Hopefully Seafood Restaurant on Alpine. Man, they got some really good orange chicken. Also, Felipe's French dip sandwiches up here. The pantry is right down there. And is over here. That's my Chinese. Okay. It's good to be back with you here on the air and everywhere, from the community to the world. The show might be a little fuzzy at times because it's the internet connection as I'm rolling down the street. You know, rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep them doggies rolling. Right? So as I'm rolling, it just depends how the carrier carries the Skype send back to the studio. And the world great, Lee Baby Michaels, manning the buttons and the gyros and the sliders and the switchers and the mic and all that good stuff for me today. Thanks a lot, Lee. Good to have you with us, too. Hey, if you want to check in and give us a call at 424-227-9461, we can even do that. We can hook it up that way. So cool. We'll be talking all kinds of things today. I'm just going to kind of free spirit it and let the mind flow. Uh-oh. You know what that means. You never know what's going to come out of the mouth of Jesse T. Hey, I want to tell you about something. Our Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. We had over 110,000 new shares and views last month. Can you believe that? 110,000 new shares, views, and likes from Facebook. It blows my mind. Just blows my mind. I remember when I had 100. So I really appreciate you folks, you know, chiming in, putting up with me and my antics, and letting your friends know about the show and sharing it out and liking it and making the comments, whichever way you want to make them. Your opinion is important, and it may not be my opinion, but that's okay. We can hash it out a little bit. But I really appreciate you guys tuning into the show. And also, I want you to know I just got the recent statistics from Google+. Remember we were at 11 million impressions? Well, now we're at 12 million impressions. So that's really cool. Man, in the last 6 months, we went up 1 million impressions on Google+. It's 1 million impressions. And on Google Internet, Google.net or Google.com, I think, we have just scratching over the top 1 million views. And that's really terrific since we've been broadcasting live here on the Jesse T Show. And we got to thank our friends over at thepowervoices.com at www.thepowervoices.com for putting up with me, yours truly, Jesse Torrero. If you're Italian, you say Jesse Torrero. If you're Spanish, you say Jesse Torrero. If you're American, you say Jesse Torrero. And if you're like everybody else, you just say Jesse T. Man, I've answered to a lot of things in my life, but I prefer Jesse T. So I'm just leaving Chinatown right now. We were at the Bonaventure Hotel for the good part of the afternoon today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Oh, what a great time. Man, did I have a good time. We did broadcast it live on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero, and you can catch those broadcasts as they have archived up. We were at the Bonaventure Hotel, downtown Los Angeles. What a terrific place. I used to take Mama T there all the time to impress her on the rotating restaurant up on top when it first opened. And also, another point of interest, the guy who built the Bonaventure Hotel in 1979, 78, 79, I crashed into him on the 710 freeway. He was driving a Stutz Bearcat. Now, a Stutz Bearcat, it was a super fancy custom built car. Super very expensive in the 70s. Only the very wealthy or flashy wealthy had it. And this guy owned this car. And I never saw a car like that before. I happened to be driving a 3/4 ton Dodge pickup truck, 1969, my neighbor's truck. And I was going to the Santa Fe auto junkyards, pick you parts out there in Santa Fe to pick some parts off some cars for a car that I wrecked, my car, about 2 months prior. I had a beautiful 1970 Ford Pinto, but it wasn't just a Ford Pinto. It was lowered. It had a V8, a V6 engine in it. It was ported, balanced, blueprinted. It had a posi traction rear end, big, huge 50 series tires all the way around, a low bar cage in the middle, dark windows, aircraft landing lights as fog lights, brown with a white racing stripe, dual exhaust, a slapstick Huffy 4-speed transmission, and great Pioneer stereo with Jensen speakers. And it was just a great car. I used to go up to Mulholland and race that car against Porsches, 911s, Tigers, Mini Coopers, Corvettes, and those type of cars up there, MGs and Triumphs. And I would go up there and race in Mulholland. I wasn't a drag strip racer. I loved the road race. And I did that ever since I was 16 years old, illegally, of course. This is, of course, when Mulholland was not as crowded as it is now. And at night after midnight, it was dead quiet. We would take the whole road. And I crashed my car up there racing a Mini Cooper. I was beating everybody. Oh, yeah, we would bet like $25 a race. And what you would do is you would start off in front. You throw a coin. Who starts off in front? Who starts off in back? Going one way. And you had a start point and you had an end point. And then I'd start off in front. If he passed me to the end point, that means he was up one. Okay? If he didn't pass me, that means I was up one. Then we'd turn around and we'd bet another $25 to come back. Okay? So if he won, that means he got to be in front. Because it was very hard and challenging to pass somebody. You had to have guts, man, to pass up there on Mulholland Drive if you've ever been on Mulholland. You know, going very fast. So let's say he passed me. So he's up $25. And then he gets to go at the front, right? And we start off. And I pass him. Then we're at 25 even, right? So that's $50. And then the rubber match was we would both start at the same time. And whoever could get in front first got in front first. And then what would happen is if you passed him, he won. If he held you off, he won. And then you get $50. And my car was only a fist off the ground. It had McPherson struts in the front and back. I tricked it out road racing style. This was before all these drifters and all these series of cars that they race now. This is way back when. It's my little slot car. That's what I called it. And so I'm racing up there with Mama T in the car, stupid me, and so I was beating vets because they couldn't hang with me up there on that road. I was beating 911s because they were surprised that I could take them, man. I was jamming out of that V6 engine, 300 horses, 350 horses out of that V6 engine. I had it ported and blueprinted and, you know, a six-pack up on top. That thing was just like fast. And it was a road racer. And so I would be racing there. And so I was beating everybody. And except I could never beat those little Coopers. They call them Mini Coopers now. Those little Coopers with the tires about this big. They look like golf carts, 3-cylinder engines. They were small, and they could hug the road just like an ant would hug the road. I mean, they would hug that road, and they would go around. And so my car was low and small too, a Pinto, 70 Pinto, right? Well, let me tell you something. I could get them on the straightaway, of course, because I outdid their horsepower 3-1. But when we hit the turns, there was no way I could stay with them because they would not peel off. There was no drifting. They would just hug that road like they had gum, nails on their tires that stuck in the asphalt. So I'm racing this one guy, and I started off in front of him, and I held him off. He couldn't pass me. So we turned around, we came back the other way, and then I was in front of him, and he came back the other way behind me again, and he passed me. So now we're dead even. So then we came back the other way, and we started at the same time. I jumped out in front of him, but on the first turn, which was a turn like this, he caught me on the inside. So I couldn't cut the turn off. Because you have to have some racing etiquette, right? So he caught me and pulled in front of me. So it would turn like this, go down and make a turn like this, and then like that. And that's the S turn up there in Mulholland. And so I came off that turn, he got me. We came down on the second turn. I went on the outside of him, and I had enough horsepower to get me past him. And then I punched it, and I got enough horsepower to get in front of him. And the next hairpin turn that was coming up, I punched it. And that hairpin turn up there is supposed to be like 15 to 20 miles an hour. They have posted speed sign. Every racer took it at 30. Well, I said, I'm going to beat this guy and get my $50, right? I'm going to take it at 50. Well, that's where I made my mistake. I took it at 50. My fat, wide tires in the back spun out. I went off the cliff. The back end went off the cliff, off the asphalt into the dirt. I swirled around a 180. My tires dug in. The asphalt shot me right into the cliff, going back the other way. And then proceeded and won the race, and everybody split because when that happened, the coppers would come if you couldn't get your car. Well, I wiped out my front end. Okay, so a couple of months later, I'm taking my neighbor's truck to go down to Santa Fe Springs to buy parts for my Pinto to put it back together, right? And this Stutz Bearcat passes me. Oh, what a car. I'd never seen a car like that in my life. 18, it was 78. And so what I did is I wanted to get an up-close and personal look at him. So I jammed the 3/4 ton pickup while I was listening to KFI, 64 KFI, top 40 radio station here in Los Angeles at the time. It's all talk now. And I'll never forget the guy who was on the air. MG Kelly was on the air doing an afternoon drive. He was only a teen. He was only in his mid-20s, early 20s, mid-20s then. He was really great. And he eventually became the voice of NBC, he and Danny Dark. But anyhow, I eventually met them when I worked in radio in Los Angeles. But at that time, 18, I wasn't in LA working radio. Still going to college. Just entering college, coming out of high school, basically about a year. So I'm listening to KFI, got the tunes turned up in 78. And I wanted to get an up-close and personal shot at this car. So I jammed the Dodge 3/4 ton pickup truck, my neighbor's truck, into the back end at 50 miles an hour in the freeway of the Stutz Bearcat, and I jammed him into the center divider of the fast lane of the freeway. Now, at that time, they didn't have the cement center dividers. They had the steel girders. Okay, I jammed him right into there. The whole front steel girder wrapped around his car. I jammed the truck back up in him. Man, 3/4 ton solid steel 1969 Dodge pickup truck, and that's how I met the guy who built the Bonaventure Hotel. Oh man, I had insurance. My mom and dad had insurance, and the neighbor had insurance. It took all three of our insurance to pay for that car. That's how expensive that car was at the time. And I remember the guy called my house up, my dad, and he made idle threats to my father from Chicago. That's what you didn't want to do. And I remember my dad, I was sitting there because we were having a family discussion where, in other words, Jesse was getting another family lecture, right? Even at 18 years old about this one. Maybe I was 17. It was right in there. And the phone rings, and that's when you picked up the phone at your house. You didn't know who was calling. There was no voice machines or anything. So my dad picks up the phone. He never picked up the phone. He goes, "Hell." And the guy says, blah, 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 blah. He goes, "You better fix my car. If you don't fix my car, I'm going to take your house." And my dad said, before you take cold steel voice. My dad never got agitated. Still to this day, he doesn't. Cold steel voice. With those El Diablo black Italian Spanish eyes. He said to the phone, on the other end of the phone, he said, "You will never take this house. And if you try, you will not only lose your ability to do anything in life, I will personally meet you and take care of it myself." I'll never forget those words. Cold-hearted, steel, no emotion. The guy hung up the phone. We got it all fixed and paired. But then I couldn't borrow a bowl of sugar from anybody in the neighborhood for years. My name became El Destructo. Yeah, Jesse T's been Jesse T a long time. What can I tell you? I just didn't wake up yesterday on Monday like this. This has been a formation that's happened over 58 years coming up. Anyhow, so I was at the Bonaventure Hotel today for something terrific. Check this out, this great bag I got. Segway, Simply Moving. And we did a special feature there for them. They had us out there for a big, huge media event. Segway, now you know who Segway is. Those are those vehicles that you see security guys use and police and the military where they're on two big wheels. Get on, you see them down the walk, LAPD has them, and the guys they can go up to like 50, 60 miles an hour. Well, Segway's a company that did that. Segway's a company that did that right here. Well, they merged with another company called Ninebot out of China. And they got infused like $100 million. And they developed these new, cool, so cool stuff, guys. They developed this go-kart called the Ninebot go-kart. It is so fun. I'm going to show you a picture of it. I drove one of them today, and it was simply very cool. And they developed these e-skate series for e-skates. And the reason why they had us there, all the press, is because they wanted us to see their big global happening event. It was taking place in China and in Europe and in America. They're all at the same time. Even though the time changes are different, they were taking place all at the same time. So it was very cool. I'm looking for one of the pictures of this Ninebot cart. I hope it's in this brochure. They may have printed up this brochure before they developed that. But it is so fun. And then they had these E-Series skates. These called E-skates. So we got a chance to test them out. And I posted all that up on the video and the live show that I did from there earlier today. So you can take a look at that and enjoy it as well. And so we were right there the whole time at the Bonaventure Hotel. That's where my, of all things, my high school graduation was at the Bonaventure Hotel in 1978. Yeah, I know I aged myself, but that's okay. I don't care. Hey, can't help it being me, Jesse T. All right, so anyway, these guys, these really cool products, and I want you to check them out on our show, okay? Very cool. I'll talk more about that. They got this gift bag. I haven't even opened it. Let's see what else is in this gift bag as I'm driving along here. So we were there. We conducted that event. They fed us. It was very good and very wonderful, and a lot of movie stars were there. I got a chance to interview a couple of them, which was a lot of fun. Oh, wow, look at this. I got this leather thing with a pen. It's like a note thing. Look at that. Is that like totally cool? This was like my swag bag. Oh, and I got a little segue. Oh, I got a couple of cool things here. Oh, these are e-pens. Oh, this must be like a little e-pad. Very nice. I like that. That's cool. What else did I get here? I don't know. Reaching into the bag of tricks. What is this? I don't know. What's this here? Let's unscrew the top there. Let's see what this is. I have no idea what this is. I don't know. I got to figure out what that is. I don't know what it is, but it looks kind of cool. Probably if I push it, it'll probably zap me in the unconscious state. Those Chinese guys. What else did I get here? I got a plastic bag. Yay. Okay, so that's what I got. So I'll be going through this and sharing with this stuff with you. Okay. So that's why I was at the Bonaventure Hotel. I used to do a lot of shows at the Bonaventure Hotel, too. We used to have a nightclub there. And when I was at K-Day in Los Angeles, we broadcasted live from the Bonaventure Hotel with the High Energy Show, Jesse T High Energy Show, which I was trying to resurrect here, but it didn't go quite the way I wanted it to go. I'm always looking to do the show live, and so it wasn't. I couldn't make it work in terms of a recorded show. So I'm looking for another alternative to bring that show live to you, and the reformation of the Jesse T Show. But nevertheless, we used to broadcast live there all the time. It was very, very cool. So bringing back some memories. Anyway, that's what I did this afternoon. So I'm kind of rolling down the highway here, getting to my next point of adventure. Hey, I am so proud of what's going on in this country today. Did you see Donald Trump yesterday from the White House West Wing, I think it was? Wow, he had like 30 of America's greatest corporations promising and pledging jobs, apprenticeships, internships, all paid, to millions and millions of potential employees. It was fantastic. I've never seen a president do that. Well, the jobs outlook is just tremendous. There are more jobs in this country now than there are people to take them. And that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So a lot of people, and it really doesn't matter what your color is, the pigment of your skin, a lot of people are quitting their jobs now and looking for better paying jobs with better benefits because companies are hiring left and right. I mean, could you ask for something better? I'm going out and get a job. I'm going to go get a job somewhere. It's so good out there. And they're paying high wages with great benefit packages. I just love that. I've never heard that in my adult life. And that is terrific. So unemployment is down really low. People are making more money. They're spending more money. Like these Segway things, this E-Skate, $399. And the go-kart, $599. Very fairly priced when you start thinking about electronic devices and things of this nature. It's really a go-kart, and it's not that much money really in the great scheme of things for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. But nevertheless, people are spending more money, people are buying more houses, people are getting more loans and mortgages. Things are growing a little bit. The housing market has slowed down a little bit, but that's all right because in Southern California, the housing prices are so high that condos are really the way to go now. The average condo is about $400,000. So that's really where you want to start. I remember when this happened 2 other times in my career. And folks that bought condos actually were able then to sell those condos within a year because the appreciative value went up, and then they would buy their first house. So there's always a stepping stone to everything. So it's good to see the economy doing so well. It's also good to see what's happening with the tariffs. And I wrote a piece on my Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero site today, the tariffs, these big tariff wars. And I think you'll find the piece very interesting if you read it. I'd like to hear your comments on it. In a nutshell, Everybody's worried about these trade wars, these tariffs. I'm not the least bit worried about it. There's almost a $600 billion trade deficit with every country in the world over America. And that started after World War II when we rebuilt the world and we started helping rebuild these countries' economies. So we would give them breaks and we would allow tariffs to be created so that we could get their products, they could grow their economies, and our products would be slowly implemented into their countries because of tariffs. Well, that over the last 60 years has run amok. And we've never changed it. Not one president, Congress, or senator has ever changed it because they're afraid of trade wars. Well, let me tell you something, folks. Here's a couple things that are going to happen that might just give you a different point of view. This is me, Jesse T, looking at the world according to Torrero. I'm going to put you straight on the point about trade wars. Disregard all those things about people losing their jobs and companies scaling back. That's a small piece of what's happening. Here's really the bottom line. By the year 2050, and you can check my stats, China is going to be the largest economy the planet has ever seen. India is going to be the second largest economy the planet has ever seen. America is going to fall to third place. It is inevitable. It will happen. 2050. I'll be 90 years old. Okay? Why? Population. They've got more population to sell to consume, to use. And as China and India become more and more technologically efficient, energy efficient, more and more mainstream, they will use more and more products, goods, and services to transform their countries, just like we did in America. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. The problem is that we are making it happen faster. With the trade tariffs being almost $600 billion, that's how much money less we make when we send our goods overseas. We charge Japan a 10% trade tariff to ship their cars here, and Germany as well. 10% on top of their cost. They charge us 25 to 35% when our cars are shipped to them. Germany and Japan. That's all good and said and done after World War II to help build their economies. But it doesn't work anymore. It's sort of like once you like candy, it's hard to stop eating it. That's what's happened. And no president has had the guts to be straightforward, no hyperbole talk, no legalese talk, straightforward, shoot right from the hip and say, look it, this is not fair and it is going to stop. It's going to stop. Because folks, if it doesn't stop, 2050 will be 2030. And once China starts commanding the world's economy, America is destined for change. Change possibly in a way that you don't want to happen. Because so many companies have moved offshore over the last 40 years to benefit their profit line, their bottom line. American middle class has lost jobs. And if this trend continues, there will be no jobs for the American middle class. We can't create new things fast enough to employ 180 million people, the 200 million people. We have to bring back the companies and businesses that left And we have to also keep new technology growing, but we also have to level the playing field. No longer can countries benefit on the backs of American taxpayers and American workers. You see, that's why I voted for Donald Trump, because he's a businessman. He wants to make a profit for himself and for the country and for you. Because in order for America to be great, capitalism must be making a profit, and we must have trade around the world, but it must be fair and balanced trade. And those countries don't want to give it up. And no president has had the huevos, the balls, the guts, the gonads, whatever you want, the chutzpah, whatever you want to call it, to stand up, because they've been bought and paid for by the corporations who want to keep the status quo. And the governments and international traders of the world. Donald Trump stood up and said, no more. Oh, you want to go 35 billion in trade wars? China, we'll go 200 billion. We'll shut your ass down. We're your number one consumer. You need us more than we need you. India needs us more. England needs us more. Germany needs us more. France needs us more. Italy, Portugal, Spain, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Korea, Finland, the Netherlands, the Middle East, the dolphins, seals, penguins, and whales need us more than anybody else. I always say, so goes America, so goes the world. So you have a choice. Do you want to live in a world where China's number one and we're number three? Or do you want to live in a world where America is number one? Well, if you want to retain that world and you like the world you live in America, you better start thinking twice about making America great and eating some pain. And people say, well, people are going to lose their jobs. People are going to feel the pain. And I look them straight in the face and I say, yeah? So what? Let me ask you this. The greatest generation that this country has ever seen, Tom Brokaw penned it. The Depression generation came out of the Depression into World War II. Do you think that 120 million Americans who were living at the time in America suffered tremendously? Had great pain? Yes. And those that went and fought in the theaters of war, and those that lived at home and helped provide the supplies and materials and merchandise that went without, and the Depression right before that, suffered great pain. More pain than you and I have ever suffered in our lifetimes. That's why they're the greatest generation. They didn't whine and cry. They didn't have welfare. They didn't gimme, gimme, gimme on the street corner. They didn't wince and baby, tears. They went out and worked and fought and worked and fought and fought and worked and scraped and fought and worked long hours and fought long hours. Why? One, that's what they had to do. Two, that's what they had to do to take care of their families. Three, that's what they had to do to take care of this country. Four, nobody was going to harm America. Nobody. That's what their mentality was. Even the pacifists prior to World War II, who did not want to enter the war, entered the war with us. Because you see, these people gave everything. They suffered great pain. For who? for the baby boom generation, me. For you, Generation X. For you, millennial generation. And for the babies being born today, the Y generation. Why? Because they wanted a better future than what they had in their past. And they were willing to suffer the pains of hard work, death, starvation, hunger, going without a shower every day. They were willing to suffer the pain of 24-hour day work days. For you, for the future, for this country. Trade wars? Maybe it's time we suffer a little pain for the future to keep America great and number one. Because you have a choice. Do you want to be dominated on the planet Earth by a communist regime? Or do you want to be dominated on the planet Earth by a capitalist regime? What do you want? Me? I vote for capitalism. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. I don't want to live under socialism, fascism, dictatorism, communism. Absolutely not. But if you don't do something, and you don't start thinking the way a businessman thinks, and yeah, we have to suffer a little pain right now, but it'll be better for the future for all of us, because when the trade levels are balanced and fair, watch the growth of America. You think they're talking about 5% GDP. 5%. 5%. Obama had 1 point something, and all his bureaucratic nonsense and his bend over politics and his appeasement, Congress and the Senate, just barely 1%. Donald Trump comes in, we're pushing 5%. Why? Because like Reagan said, you negotiate through power and strength. And the world needs America to be powerful and strong. The world needs America to be the America the world has always known. Trade tariffs have got to stop. Level trading, fair and balanced. And if we have to impose 200 billion, impose 500 billion. Shut Europe down. You know, they're all of a sudden wanting to trade with us after Trump went over there. Yeah, they want to trade with us now. Read the headlines behind the headlines. Don't listen to the news. Do your own research. Newsletters, people that know. So that's my tariffs. I have no problem with it. Looks like we got a poor network connection. So I came out there, strengthened up a little bit. Traveling to Burbank right now. So we got to suffer a little pain to get a little bit of gain. Suffer a little pain, a little more pain to get a whole bunch of gain. You have to invest in order to reap the rewards. You have to sow your oats to make the harvest. And that's what we're doing right now. Thank God for businessmen like Donald Trump, who understands making money, not just getting paid by you and me. He doesn't even get paid by you and me. He gives that money away. That's why Washington, D.C. hates him. That's why neoconservatives hate him. That's why Republican rhinos hate him. That's why Democrats hate him. That's why the powers hate him. That's why they're making you hate him, because they're not explaining to you the understandings of how the world really functions. And that is business, business, business. And America is number one in business. And we need to keep it that way for as long as we can. Fair and balanced trade. Impose more tariffs if you have to, so people lose their jobs and get laid off. It's not going to happen that much. Don't let the fake news media scare you. Don't let it scare you. We have to get the $600+ billion trade deficit down with all the countries in the world. We have to. No longer can they steal from you and your family. So we're rolling along here on the Jesse T Show. Good to have you along with us. Of course, we're on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. We're broadcasting live on YouTube right now and Instagram Live. We'll be radiating out to Google Plus and Pinterest, Read It, Diggy, Skype, Messenger, Twitch, and Snapchat. Also, we headed out to the Power of Voices Facebook page, as well as thepowerofvoices.com on our radio feed, and across America on radios everywhere. It's the Jesse T Show, doing what we do best, and that's having a good time, just kind of chatting back and forth. So I was hoping to get a call today from Brett Hunt, who's got a brand new TV series on Amazon that he stars in, sci-fi series, and he was at Comic-Con as part of the big celebration of the debut of their series. He's also got a new hip-hop album out with the song 99 Cent. So I was hoping to get him on the show, but he hasn't been able to connect up with me today. So we'll get him on to talk a little bit about what happened at Comic-Con. But I got to tell you, the thing I got from Comic-Con, Star Trek Discover. Spock is back. Christopher Pike, Captain Pike of the USS of the Federation of the the Federation of Starships. What is it? Come on. The United Federation of Planets. The Enterprise is back at season number 2. Captain Christopher Pike, and also number 1 is going to be there, and also Spock, because Spock was number 1 and 2 on the original debut of the Menagerie in Star Trek, Captain Christopher Pike. Spock is back, and he's going to actually be on. Now, Leonard Nimoy isn't coming back from the dead, but they are going to have Spock. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for Discovery to start up again. It's going to be so cool. And the original uniforms are going to be there. They're going to be shown off. I can't wait. I'm so excited about it. I got that from Comic-Con. A whole bunch of cool new movies are coming out, too. All those cartoon movies like, Guardians. And there's a new movie called Shazam. And, all these big green screen CNG movies. They're all coming out. They're okay. Once you've seen one, you kind of seen them all, really, in my opinion. They all follow the same model and the same pattern. They have to. It's a formula. But anyway, I just want to kind of briefly touch bases on Comic-Con. Have you guys ever been to Comic-Con? It's really cool. You see these crazy, zany people all dressed up in their favorite comic and favorite costumes. It's insane. Plus, a whole bunch of movie stars are out there because really the internet is replacing TV, network TV, and films. Within a very short period of time, we're going to have a collaboration, a mixture where film and the internet are going to come together in the theaters. There's some exciting things happen technology-wise. Yeah, easy for me to say. That are happening. And so with HBO and TLC and the History Channel and Netflix and Amazon Prime and Google TV and all of these different avenues, there are so many original series now that are out that it's exciting because so many actors get to work, but there's so much creativity being exposed to us for our entertainment. It's almost bombarded to the point where people don't want to do anything. And I was reading a study the other day about that. Did you know that they did a study of kids under the age of 16? That, now this is a mind boggler. Less than 20% of them like to go outside. And 20%, and only 80% of them roughly go outside for about an hour a day. Man, we are turning human beings into out of shape, fat, obese, unhealthy human robots. I never wanted to be in the house as a kid, as a teenager. I always wanted to be out doing my thing. Did you know that a lot of teenagers today don't even want to get their driver's license? That the actual driver's license for teenagers in California is down? I couldn't wait to get my driver's license in 1976. It was a fantasy, a dream that I would get my license, a dream come true. When I got my car, it was so cool. Freedom. Did you know that child obesity is up triple what it was 10 years ago? What are we doing to our children with all this entertainment, all this type of gameplay entertainment, all this interactive entertainment? What are we creating? You ever contemplated that? And what these people are going to be like when they're my age? They're going to be really sick. Because our bodies were made to move. Our bodies were made to wander. Our bodies were made to always be in movement, going straight ahead, not backwards. Everything about us says go that way. And whatever that way is, it's that way, straight ahead, a forward movement. We weren't made to sit. I mean, if you sit, you get sick. And after decades of sitting and eating, it turns into diseases that just run amok in your body. I'll tell you, if you have youngsters, youngins, put away the smartphones, the game stations, all that stuff. There's time for that, but get them out to play. The problem is, so get them physical. So get them in the sport, discipline and honor, athleticism, strength, taps into all those emotional qualities. I saw this little girl on the internet. She's like 5 years old, and she's a karate master, Okinawa karate master. I mean, she is unbelievable. 5, 6 years old. And, you know, she's going to grow up with the right way to think, with an athletically fit body. How exciting. I posted it up on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. And I said to myself, man, that's it. And I posed a question. What makes children better adults? Well, I can only attest to my children, really, when you think about it. Everything else is just a theory. But the practicality and the implementation of raising 2 kids, a girl and a boy, I can experience, can help me say this one thing. You put your kids in some sort of athletic endeavor. You be involved with it. You find something that they like to do, even if you have to try everything that make their heart go pitter pat. Get physical. It has to be physical and then challenging. Then your children have the greatest chance to grow up healthy and be focused and have the greatest opportunity to succeed in life. My children are a perfect example of it. Ryan Danielle Torrero, she's part of the goalkeeping squad at the Chicago Red Stars in the NWSL, the highest women's league of professional soccer in the world. My son's a pro elite Spartan obstacle course racer on the pro elite circuit, always pulling in around 50, 55 on the circuit right now. He's a pro. My daughter, double major. My son is getting mechanicals and engineering degree. My daughter's been to 42 nations. She's played soccer all around the world. She speaks 4 languages. My son getting his first degree, mechanical engineering, and on to a master's degree. Gets great grades. Trains 8 to 9 hours a day, and then works. Loves his country, loves his family, loves his sister. Put your kids in athletics when they're younger. Emphasize it. I don't care whether it's martial arts. I don't care whether it's boxing. I don't care whether it's swimming, archery, bobsledding, ice skating, football, basketball, running, weightlifting, hockey, soccer. It doesn't matter. Get them in athletic endeavors. Their life will be a better life than if they didn't ever do that. I promise you. The Jesse T Show every Monday through Friday right here. We're switching around some stuff. On Monday, I've been hiatus for a little bit, other than the Best of Jesse T Show that we play on thepowervoices.com. But I've been hiatus off the TV, and the reason for that is because we're developing Road Tripping. That's going to be airing on Facebook Watch as well as YouTube Live on the Red channel of YouTube. So it broadcasts every day and loops every day, but also it's on Mondays. It's Road Tripping, sort of a combination of Hugh Hauser, finding out very interesting things around Los Angeles and having a great time. We're switching the real estate show down on the real estate corner over to Fridays. And that's going to be a similar type pre-produced show. And it's going to be talking about how you can buy a house, how you can make money, how you can flip houses and make money. And I'm going to teach you several ways, the Jesse T method, on how to get wealthy in real estate. That's going to be airing on Fridays when we get done producing and putting it together. Of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be doing the regular Jesse T show like we do with guests and entertainers and politicians and yours truly, me, Jesse T, doing what I do. And that's jibber-jabbering and talking. We'll be doing that and having a good time there. Tomorrow, on Thursday, that is, not tomorrow, on Thursday, we've got the Double D's checking in. Dale Bird and Dominique Craig, we're going to talk about the issues of the day. We kind of do geopolitics, American politics, state politics. We hit it hardcore. They all have a different point of view. I kind of play moderate and toss a few pieces of action in. Sometimes a fuel on the fire. Sometimes I get in the middle of the fray too. But we're going to be making that happen. That's tomorrow, Skyping live right here, all live on the Jesse T Show on Thursday. That is. I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Hey, I wanted to say thank you for our sponsor, Evoke Lending, 818-805-4400, for the best money, the fastest money that you can get in an emergency. Eddie Money, Evoke Lending, check them out. Give them a call at 818-805-4400. Man, I'll tell you something. He can lend up to $35 million collateral income. Florida, just 12,000 square foot, 2,200 square foot house, ready to go. The condo we're selling in Bakersfield, near Cal State University, Bakersfield, positive cash flow, $900 to $1,000. The ranch I'm selling for you survivors and preppers up in Twin Oaks with the two. It's the Jesse T Show. Rolling along in the Great Ghost. Thanks a lot for joining us and keep sharing it out. Hey, you're in the world, according to Torrero. Straight on the point. And thanking our friends at Segway, 9bot. Oh, what a good time having us out at Bonaventure. The Born Beauty is off duty. See ya! Oh.